Hello and welcome to Wagner's Tech Talk. Today we're going to take a look at an all-new device from Anbernic, the RG351V. I ordered the wood grain version, which would certainly make Clint over at LGR very pleased. Let's get started. There are three variants of the RG351V, including wood, gray, and black. I ordered the wood grain variant directly from Anbernic's website. Let's take a quick look at the features of the RG351V. It has a 3.5-inch IPS display with a 640 by 480 resolution, that is, a 4:3 aspect ratio. The CPU is the not-so-uncommon RK3326 quad-core at 1.5 GHz. The GPU is a Mali G31 MP2. It has 1 GB of RAM, dual micro SD card slots, one for your firmware, one for your games. It does have Wi-Fi built in, however, it was only able to see my 2.4 GHz Wi-Fi SSID. It has a mono speaker, although it does have a 3.5mm headphone jack. The battery is a 3900 mAh battery, which they claim will last about 8 hours and recharge in 4. I'm really looking forward to this device. It's so unusual compared to other handhelds from Anbernic. Of course, it's not made of real wood, but it certainly looks like wood. Alright, so let's take a quick look at the box here. Yeah, not a whole lot there. There's the specs, which we've already gone over. The button layout of the unit. Feel free to pause it here if you want to take a closer look. And now we'll go ahead and open the box to the unit. There we go. This is exciting. There's the foam packaging and the device itself. We'll just set that aside for just a moment and take a look at the contents. More packaging material. And here we have a USB-C to USB Type-A charging cable. This little document shows you how to set up the micro SD card with your games. A couple of screen wipes. A screen protector. A fold-out user's manual for the RG351V. Well, what is that? It's none other than the game micro SD card that just fell out of the booklet. May want to keep an eye on that, just so you don't think it's missing on your device. Alright, so let's take a quick look here. Feel free to pause any of this if you're interested in checking it out. Alright, now let's go ahead and take the RG351V out of the packaging and take a look at the buttons. Now that is a gorgeous looking device. I almost feel like I'm going to get splinters using it. The buttons feel very good. They're kind of springy, and I like that. The joystick, the select, start, a function button, and your A, B, X, Y all have a nice quality feel to it. On the back you have your L1, your L2, your R2, and your R1 up here. That's what it looks like from the side. Pretty cool. Yeah, I think I could get used to this. I should probably go ahead and put in that game micro SD card that fell out. And yeah, we'll take a look at the side here and go ahead and power it on. Let's see how long it takes to boot. This device kind of reminds me of the RG300, which is one of the first devices I reviewed on this channel. I think we should go back and take a look at it in a few minutes and see how it compares. Alright, we're almost booted. 19 seconds. Not bad. Looking at the right side of the device, the right micro SD slot is for your firmware. The left one is for your games. Up here you have a reset button, and of course your power, which you can also use to put it in standby mode. Here's a top-down view of your L1, L2 buttons, and your R1, R2. And that's what the label looks like. On the bottom you have two USB-C ports, your OTG and your power. And of course your headphone jack. Looking at the back of the unit, the left side is for DC or OTG. In the middle, your headphone jack, and on the right, another OTG port. At the upper left, you have a volume rocker, which I prefer. It would have been a dial control. Now let's take a look at some of the button functions. The function key plus the D-pad up and down can really boost the volume. I mean, a lot. Function plus D-pad left or right can change the save slots, which might be very handy. And function plus L1 over here will load the previous game state for that slot, and function plus R1 will save the game state to the current slot. Exiting a game is a little tricky. You have to hold down L3 and function at the same time, then press B, and then move up and go to quit RetroArch. Now I'll quickly flip through all the emulators that have games pre-installed so you can see what kind of games you can play out of the box. I'm going to go pretty fast through here, so go ahead and pause it if there's something that you miss and want to take a closer look at. Now we'll do a quick weight comparison of today's popular devices. The RG351V comes in at 223 grams. The RG351M at 265 grams. And the Odroid Go Super at 275 grams. Now we'll do a quick size comparison. Here's the 351V and the RG300. Now compared to the Odroid Go Super, and the RG351M, and this Game Boy Pocket from 1996. Now let's move on to the gameplay. We're going to check out Cars Mater National on the DS emulator, Drastic. You can use the L2 and R2 buttons to change the display. The frame rate's not that great. I wasn't able to see the menu in order to show you the frame rate here, but it's pretty low, obviously. Now we'll take a look at a few games on Final Burn Alpha. This is 1945K3. I haven't made any changes to any of the emulators. What you're seeing is exactly the way you'll see it when you open the box. If you'd like to see a video on tweaking the emulators, please let me know in the comments below. Now we're going to take a look at Backfire, also on Final Burn Alpha. Now we'll check out 1943 on the MAME emulator. Obviously the aspect ratio is not quite right, but of course you can change that in the settings. Now we'll play some Mortal Kombat 2, also on the MAME emulator. Check out my moves here, they're pretty astounding. Not that one. Yeah, that one. Takes perfect timing to be able to do this. Now we're going to play one of my favorites, Donkey Kong Country, on the Super NES. Now we'll switch gears. We'll play some Mario Kart 64 on the Nintendo 64. And yes, obviously there's a little bit of sluggish audio at the beginning, which is not uncommon on the RK3326 chipset. You'll see that on many devices. Of course, you can try different firmwares that can improve it, but at this point there's no other firmware available for the RG351V. Now we'll check out Super Mario 64. As you can see, the frame rate still not too bad. It's playable. Now we'll take a look at Sonic Advance 2 on the Game Boy Advance. Now we'll move on to the Dreamcast and check out Dead or Alive. Obviously the audio is very sluggish, as well as the frame rate. Not one of the best performing titles on this device. And Crazy Taxi 2 also doesn't perform all that well out of the box. Definitely need to do some tweaking on this one. Now it's time for a helpful tip. On several of these emulators, what you'll see is numbers at the very beginning instead of the name, which makes it very hard to sort. So if you want to find a game, sometimes it's easier just to go into the filter games by text and type in a few characters to bring up just the one you're wanting to play. So in this case, we're going to go ahead and play Super Mario Brothers on the NES. Just about all PlayStation games should play very well. For example, here we are playing Gran Turismo. And lastly, we'll take a quick look at the PSP. And we're going to go ahead and play Mega Man Maverick Hunter. The PSP is a mixed bag. Some games are going to play good, such as your 2D games like this one. And some of the more demanding titles will probably need some tweaks and modifications to get it to play smoothly. And there's other firmwares that will likely be available that should improve the situation. I hope you enjoyed this look at the RG351V. I'm very pleased that Anbernic is finally putting in a 640 by 480 display. A lot of games look a lot better in a 4:3 aspect ratio, so kudos to Anbernic for including that in this device. I also like the fact that it's pocketable. I had no problems putting it in my pocket. I also like that they've included 2 OTG ports that may come in handy at some point in the future. I can certainly appreciate that the game micro SD card is FAT32, which makes it easy for Windows users to copy their games and BIOS files. And personally, I really like the wood grain look to it. I think it's very unique, and henceforth I shall name my device Woody. I could certainly see some improvements that could be made. Exiting a game is rather tedious, and the included game list should not have prefixed numbers. That doesn't make sense to me. And the volume rocker should be a dial instead of the rocker. That's kind of a step back from the RG351M. Well, that's my take on the RG351V. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please click the like button. And if you'd like to see more from Wagner's Tech Talk, please click the subscribe. And with that, I will talk to you very soon.